Managing Director of White Rock Minerals now joins us. Matt Gill, it's over to you.
Thank you, Amy. I will just share my screen. So hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, you can see that. I'm just going to make sure that I stick to my time as well. So thank you, investors, shareholders, and hopefully soon to be shareholders to listen to the White Rock story, a little bit different than the previous presentation. You will find this presentation on our website. I do encourage you to read the disclaimer and cautionary statement at your convenience. So in a snapshot, what is White Rock? We are ASX listed. We just recently got a cross listing on the OTCQX for our North American investors in particular, and I'll explain why shortly. And one of the reasons is fairly clear. We have an Alaskan asset called Red Mountain. It's a zinc, silver rich VMS, but also with a very exciting gold prospect in Central Alaska, and also Mount Carrington in New South Wales, gold and silver, so just south of those attending the Noosa conference. And yes, I won't be the last to ever say that we have an experienced board and management team. So a little bit about Red Mountain. It is silver rich zinc. It's got gold and lead, so a great polymetallic, and at a 13% zinc equivalent grade. And I'll unpack that a little bit more. I think sometimes investors don't quite understand what zinc equivalent means. It's rounding up all of those different metals as if they were the one metal. Very large strategic land holding, 800 square kilometres in central Alaska. And earlier this year, in fact, in January, we announced this large gold anomaly called Last Chance. And within the space of 7 months, we went from announcing that to drilling it. And we've got results still coming through. And I'll talk a little bit about that as well, and hopefully a little bit about our plans for next year. And then Mount Carrington, White Rock was listed with the Mount Carrington asset. It is a gold and silver project, well advanced on mining lease, feasibility study done, JORC resource, JORC reserve, and the financial metrics are significant. You know, a 14-month payback, a rate of return of over 80%, and free cash in just its first 5 years, mining only 2 of the 8 deposits, generating about 30 million free cash a year. It's got approvals as its next step. So a little bit about the company structure, a nice tight structure. We did a consolidation earlier this year, so 70 odd million shares. Great position for a junior, 13 million cash in the bank, no debt, and a share price that just sort of hovers around the 50 cents mark at the minute. And we'd like to see that obviously improving over time. I think that's the opportunity for shareholders and also would-be investors. And again, I would encourage you to have a look at this presentation, do your own research and see what you think. Very successful capital raising earlier this year, allowed us to raise that money, allowed us within, as I said, within 7 months from announcing this Last Chance gold discovery to getting on the ground with 6 geologists for 6 weeks mid-year, and then following that up with 6 weeks of drilling. So in a very short space of time, 7 months, of which 4 was winter, we went from announcing to drilling. Great effort by the team here at White Rock, but also our team in Fairbanks, based out of Fairbanks in Alaska. We couldn't do it without them. I'd encourage would-be investors, shareholders, to look at who else has invested their money in White Rock. And you can see that we've got, I think, a great mix of institutional and high net worth retail, which you do need that mix. So on the institutional side, we've got Crescat as our largest single shareholder, US-based, Denver, 9%. We've also got in that HSBC custody nominees, companies like a $1 billion private equity group out of New York, the Gold Mountain Asset Management, which is the Zijin Sprott joint venture in Hong Kong, and a group out of Zurich, Commodity Capital. We've also got Acorn Capital, based out of Melbourne here, and some great high net worth supporters as well. So as I said, a good mix of institutional and retail who have done, their own due diligence to check out the investment proposition, which I'm now hopefully presenting to you, that will get your interest as well. So as I said, not the last one to say that we've got a great board. 2 of us are mining engineers, 2 of us are more M&A corporate development, and Rowan, exploration manager, worked America, New Zealand, Australia, and helps with the guys in Alaska, certainly oversight of our Alaskan exploration program. And a great benefit to White Rock was earlier this year, the appointment of Dr. Quinton Hennig as our technical advisor. So again, based in the US, great geologist, great economic geologist, so been a great technical advisor for us, but also fundamental in opening up the capital markets for our Alaskan story into North America. So, you know, Rowan and I will Zoom, and everyone's probably sick of Zoom, I certainly am to a degree, other than this, you know, probably once a week or two, talking to Quinton about what we're doing, what we're planning, what the results are looking like, and what we should be thinking about doing next year. So a great addition to our board. So Red Mountain, yes, very imaginatively called. It's central Alaska. As I mentioned, multiple targets. We already have a JORC resource, significant 9 million tonnes running over 5 ounces a tonne of silver, 5.8% zinc, lead. So around 13% zinc equivalent to give you a feel for that, or over 800 grams per tonne silver, if you were to convert all of those metals into a silver value. Although it's not the dominant metal, I need to point that out. But you can see significant tonnages of zinc, lead, but also significant silver and gold. In fact, in endowment, half of the value of that JORC resource is in gold and silver. So we've got a great mix of commodity. The two JORC resources, outcrop at surface, Dry Creek in particular, open at along strike and down dip. Alaska, top 5 Fraser Institute, so a great jurisdiction to invest in. Again, I would encourage a would-be investor to look at the jurisdiction that the commodities are in. You know, sovereign risk is a major issue that investors should be aware of, and Alaska's been fantastic jurisdiction for White Rock to be working in. Central Alaska, so 100 kilometres due south of Fairbanks, and Fairbanks supports mines including Pogo that many people I'm sure have heard of, Fort Knox, run by Kinross, to name just a few. Had previous drilling done in the 1990s when this project was held by a TSXV company. So you can see some of that historical drilling, which was what allowed us to do the JORC resource. So some great widths, some great grades. And again, not just zinc, you know, over 20%, but some great silver, great lead, I mean, even significant gold. So, you know, great polymetallic, some preliminary met test work, very positive. And we did some drilling there, which I'll touch on in a minute. When we acquired it, it was just that block of ground in the bottom right-hand side. We identified about 30 targets. We used independent experts, including a gentleman called Jim Franklin. And so in 2018, we set about drilling some of those, but there are still plenty more targets yet to drill. It's a syncline, so there's a southern limb, the Dry Creek trend, and a northern limb, the Glacier trend. So that just shows some of the preliminary work that we did in 2018, 2019. Bit of the team, so chopper supported. The photo in the middle top is the camp just to the side of an airstrip. That supported the VMS work. This year, in support of our last chance work, we were able to chopper 35 kilometres from a main town called Healy, where the guys resided in a tourist accommodation during the COVID restrictions. So well supported, whether it's for the VMS or for the last chance gold prospects. So some of our drilling that we did in 2018, that photo on the right is Red Mountain, and that's the Dry Creek deposit. So you can see again, you know, good widths, some great grades, not, as I said, not just silver, but also zinc, lead, and significant gold grades. And that Dry Creek deposit in particular is open along strike. As you can see here, and down dip, we did a late drill hole in 2018 showing that it could possibly be twice the depth of the previous drilling, and we're keen to get back and test that. During last year, we did a lot of soil stream sediment sampling, and we identified a large gold anomaly that we've called Last Chance. So the Red Mountain Project sits in a wonderful geological regime of both VMS, but also intrusive related gold potential. And you can see some of the gold mines that sit in this Tatina Gold Belt. Pogo, recently acquired by Fort Knox, Donlin, etc. So that's our land package, 800 square kilometres. The VMS is on the right, the Last Chance Gold anomaly on the left. And that sampling that we did identified very high grade gold in soils of the same tenor that Pogo was discovered on. A little bit of the terrain, so yes, chopper supported. That's an idea of the gold anomaly. So over 2,800 samples supporting that. Some very strong samples. You know, Quinton would say never seen them that high before. Over 3 kilometres left to right, you know, kilometre to 2 north to south. So significant. I'm a mining engineer. I say the gold has to have come from somewhere. We've just got to find where it's come from. So we've got about 8 holes in this year. 2 we've announced. Quartz, breccia, you know, bits of pyrite, traces of gold. We've still got 6 more drill holes to come. Very frustrating, very slow through the North American assay labs at the minute. Gold prices peaked, and so a lot of gold exploration during the year, and then the COVID has challenged the assay labs. We hope to get all of the results by around this time next month. But we've also got a lot of stream sediment sampling that we were very successful with to come. We've got rock chips from VMS work to come. We're interpreting the airborne magnetics that we did earlier this year, so we've still got a lot of news flow to follow. What is the geology telling us? We think we may be at the top of a high-grade quartz gold system. So what we're seeing is breccia with traces of gold, and we think that we probably need to do deeper holes. We're waiting for the last 6 drill holes and those results to tell us, and then that'll help inform our planning for next year. That will be coupled with the geochem that I've mentioned, the soils, the airborne magnetics. We recently announced some of the results from the on-ground CSAMT geophysics that we've done. And we've also did spectral satellites. So we've done a lot of work at this prospect in only a couple of months to give us a feel. It's never had any exploration, never any drilling before. So, you know, just great greenfields discovery in the making, we believe. So very briefly on Mount Carrington, northern New South Wales, JORC resource, JORC reserve. Past mining, that photo on the bottom left is you literally walk onto ore. It's got a tailings dam there. Feasibility study metrics, you know, 2,300 per ounce. Great cash flows, rate of return, payback of 14 months. You know, there aren't many gold and silver projects this advanced, certainly in Australia. Now, it is small, 35,000 ounces per annum, but I tell people I'll take quality over quantity any day, and something that's a 14-month payback on mining lease. You walk onto ore, pits pre-strip, tailings dam there, payback in just 14 months, you know, is a nice de-risk project. Great cash generator once it's approved and into production. And clearly an exposure to improved gold prices. And there is just as much silver in value in the ground as there is gold in value in the ground. And none of these numbers in front of you include any contribution from silver. So it's a great optionality on silver. There aren't many projects on the ASX with genuine exposure to silver. If you add the JORC resources for silver between the 2 projects, we have about 70 million ounces. So great opportunities. The financial metrics are outstanding. We've entered a non-binding indicative term sheet to advance that with a private company called Koala Metals, where White Rock is free carried through that. We've got great potential. We've got JORC resources that aren't in those financial metrics with silver to come. And we've also got walk-up drill targets for gold, as I've mentioned as well. So why would I suggest you have a look at White Rock? Well, the Red Mountain silver rich zinc gold VMS I've mentioned, open along strike down dip, great land package. Now Carrington gold and silver with approvals to flow through and where White Rock is free carried. The last chance gold target, as I mentioned, has only had 6 holes. It's 15 square kilometres in size. We've got a lot more work to do there. Well funded, 13 million in the bank to look at what to do next year. Great jurisdictions in New South Wales and Alaska. I do encourage you to look at the jurisdictional sovereign risk issue. And as I said, you know, a good board and management team that will be managing your money to add value for shareholders. So look, with that, I thank you for listening. More than welcome to field questions through email. You can see that on our website. And thank you for your time. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks so much, Matt.